ghouls and ghouls. Lock your doors and strap yourselves in. From Los Angeles, California, Bloody Disgusting presents the Boo Crew Podcast. Horror news, commentary, reviews, interviews, and more. With your hosts, Lauren and Trevor Shand and Leone D'Antonio.
Go ahead, scream. That's all we need.
Another victim crawls onto the gurney for a Boo Crew autopsy.
Joining the Boo Crew via the Speakeasy Studio is an Emmy Award-winning actor, writer, producer, and director whose fascinating and fun career has led everybody to be exposed to and affected by his wide breadth of work. He appeared on the seminal Gemini Award-winning gateway horror drug to so many young monster kids, the iconic Are You Afraid of the Dark TV series, starred in the tremendous TV show Undeclared, went on to projects like Cameron Crowe's Oscar-winning Almost Famous, Clint Eastwood's four-time Oscar-winning $1 Million Baby, one of the most hilarious comedy films ever made, and winner of the People's Choice and AFI Award for being just that, Knocked Up. Ben Stiller's Oscar-nominated Tropic Thunder, Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist, This Is the End, won an Annie Award for its voice work in How to Train Your Dragon, wrote the comedy hockey films Goon and Goon Last of the Enforcers, showed up in Letterkenny. That's not even half of the list of stuff this dude has done. Through his versatility and diverse choice of roles, I'm looking at this guy right now, and he's someone that has made all of us laugh to the point of tears, find bits of ourselves in truly heartbreaking and poignant moments, has both celebrated our awkwardness, made us feel cool, and has entertained and inspired us to no end. We are so excited that his new horror experience he has written, directed, and stars in is here, available exclusively on Shudder. It is a brutal symphony of terror called Random Acts of Violence. What an honor to welcome Jay Baruchel.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That's I wish would that everybody introduced me that way. I'm very humbled. Thank you for having me,
dude. Thank you so much, and congrats on this film being out there for everyone to see. You made a phenomenal and very unique movie that we are all obsessed with right now.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, guys. Thank you. That's very nice of you to say. Thank you.
Well, how are you feeling right now that everybody can finally see this thing?
Yeah, it's a weird kaleidoscope of emotions. It's like it's the end of a decade, basically, because it was a decade ago we wrote the first pass of the first treatment of the thing. So it's 10 years now, and so that's crazy that the journey is kind of finally over, at least my kind of portion of it in earnest anyway. The movie will still be out there, but yeah, it's really cool. It's so it's like there's a weird kind of purgatory, you get when you're just done something impactful and you just don't quite know how to process anything. But at the same time, I'm like, it's super, super touching that a bunch of people are connecting to it in the way that we had hoped they would.
Let's start with your horror lineage and background of your love of the genre, starting with the first horror film you remember seeing, and how did it make you feel? So
the first time I was like scared shitless in a movie, I was like, it was Ghostbusters. I was 3 or 4, and my parents, I was like, I want to watch a funny movie, because I had gotten, when I was little, I was like, it was like Caddyshack and that kind of stuff. And and so I was like, I want to watch a funny, and they said, no, it is a funny movie. And then it started, and I was remembering being like, they lied to me.
It was scary, man. I remember first seeing that in the theater too, with those dogs and everything.
That opening, like scene. For a 3-year-old or 4-year-old, I was just like, yeah, it's seared and took my fucking head off. But like the first movie that like fucked with me, and I like elected to have that happen, had hoped that would happen, sought a scary movie, and it kind of got to me, it would either be Carrie or Psycho. And I remember watching Psycho at a sleepover with a friend of mine. We were like 12 or 13, and I had already, I was okay to watch old movies. He refused to watch anything old, and black and white. Jesus, that would just be like the worst. And I was like, I really think we should give it a try. And flash forward to the last 20 minutes of the movie, and there's 2 12-year-olds in sleeping bags, just like, holy frig! Like there was not a single piece of it that was left on the table. It functioned exactly as it was meant to our 2 little 12-year-old brains. Yeah, and then Carrie, just like that shit got in my head in a massive way. But yeah, if I was gonna like see like a sort of moment where I realized, oh, this is a fucking heavy thing and this is something I wanted to be a part of, it'd probably be that watching Psycho in my bedroom when I was 12.
Leo, you had a question. Jump in, man.
Yeah, in terms of the concept, writing and pre-production, was there a real-life serial killer that you studied or became fascinated with? Or what inspired the Slasherman serial killer storyline and look?
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So during prep, actually, Kareem and I were both reading the same book. Mercifully, we had two copies, which is probably better for my wife and his girlfriend. we read the same book throughout all of prep, which was the Black Dahlia Avenger by Stephen Hodel, who he also wrote a book called, I think, Zodiac Event. It's called he's a guy, Hodel, who was a veteran LAPD homicide detective who was convinced his father is the Black Dahlia murderer as well as the Zodiac. And it's a very, very compelling read. And his whole take on it specifically was that this awful murder was, in addition to being an awful murder, that it was specifically a form of creative expression, that it was a work of art on the part of his father. And it is like a window into kind of seedy circles in the golden age of Hollywood. And it's just like, it's like, it's not kind of crass and exploitative. It's a really strongly written piece of work. So that was definitely in our brains when we were kind of building the movie. In terms of like actual sort of serial killers that kind of impacted us in a way, like, I know that when we were kids, there was something, I think in the States, you guys call them the Ken and Barbie killers, Paul Bernardo and Carla Homolka. And there was this husband and wife, and they killed these three girls, one of whom was the wife's sister. But when it was sort of happening before they got caught, it was just this awful, girls were going missing near where I grew up. And then this crazy sort of biggest trial in Canadian history happened. And anyway, so it's never not been, it's as omnipresent in my life as air and fire and asphalt. Like the concept and the idea that there's these, broken minds out there doing awful things, and a fascination with them, I confess, has been there since the beginning. And my mother was a big true crime fan. And so I read John Douglas's Mindhunter book when I was like 14. And I've just always been interested in it. And this movie is part of me trying to figure out why, I think.
Yeah, and throughout the film, you incorporated the use of the point of view stalker cam and the use of colored lights to accentuate the vividness of colors often seen in comics. What are some of the comics or films that inspire the look of the film?
There's two kind of big influences for the aesthetic. White of the Eye, I think it's called. It's a early 80s. I think it's a British flick. It takes place in the States. It's a serial killer flick, and it's all Steadicam, and it has like some pretty crazy Steadicam work in it. And then The Red Shoes, the Powell and Pressburger flick from the like late 40s. There's one sequence in there in particular that I was like, really was, I don't like the term spirit animal. It was my kind of guiding force. The scene when the ballet dancer's on stage and you stop watching the performance, and at a certain point you're on the stage in it with her, and the color of the light and the way it moves and just the feeling in my stomach when I watch it, I was like, I want to do the kind of angry version of this, I think is correct. And then for the violence itself, that's kind of irreversible, Zodiac, and every Scorsese flick.
Can we talk about the prosthetics? Because I'm like seriously in love. They're so beautiful.
Oh my God.
And who did them?
Yeah.
Where are they right now? How can we get one in our house?
They're works of art, man. They're created by one of Canada's greatest artist, Paul Jones. I've known Paul since I was like 18, when he did prosthetics for a movie that I got killed in. And we kind of just like, I don't know, you know, when two nerds meet, you connect. And so you just like speak the same fucking language and dig the same shit. And one of the coolest things about getting to finally direct a movie in my 30s after acting in this business since I was 12 is there's a bunch of people who I worked with when I was a kid who are still working. And it's like, I get to kind of, we get, you know, call in a favor or two. Not even, it's just like Paul said to me back when I was 18, he's like, you're going to make horror movies. And when you do, I'm going to do your shit. And he built some prosthetic stuff for Goon 2 as well. There's in the climax of Goon 2, Doug breaks his fist on Anders Kane's jaw. And we do a close up of all the finger bones being pushed backwards and coming up out of the skin. And Paul built that thing. And so now is a chance to do the thing he loves doing, which is started doing gore effects.
What was your favorite sequence or scene to shoot? I'd
say the car scene with the kids and the knife stuff was a fun one. Super fun, because that was pure horror filmmaking, man. And in every way. But it was very trying because we were all fucking soaking wet, especially those poor kids. Like, and I had them scream their bloody blue murder all fucking night, and I started kind of fucking with them where I would send Simon running at their car at different times in each take I would do, so that they could never get used to when he was coming. So I'd just be like, just chat about how scared you are, fill up the space, because you know the more you talk, your anxiety will come down. So you guys are talking to make yourselves feel better, so just keep talking. And so I'd just tell them to talk, and then I just be like, Simon, all right, 5 seconds in, now you run. Okay, this one, wait 30 seconds, let them talk with it. Now go. So I just kept trying. So these poor kids had to go through this like Groundhog Day of being surprised and brutalized and then screaming their arses off in the rain all night. But they were so fucking up for it. And I kept apologizing, and they kept being like, no, this is the best. This is like, getting sort of into it and getting to play around, right? Because all movies are cops and robbers. It's all a version of playing cops and robbers in the backyard. And when you get to be physical and use all of your fucking instrument, there's a fun to be had.
Another thing to highlight, you're a fucking genius dialogue writer, man. There's so many scenes. I mean, there's conversational funny scenes like you rating the hotel by potatoes or saying rural, all real. Then there's really poignant scenes like the conversation at one point in the back of a van. Was unlike anything we've heard in a horror film that gives a moment that gives such gravity to what's going on. How important was it to give that film, that moment in particular, an opportunity to reflect and really think about the themes it raises? All of a sudden, the viewer is a victim of the violence as well, in a sense. It gives you a totally different perspective. It makes it real and sad.
Yeah, that was the idea. Like, I really wanted the film to be, there's a sort of tradition in horror, or used to be, that but a very gothic tradition of horror and love stories being kind of connected in a deep and meaningful way. Like I'd argue The Crow is as heartbreaking as it is anything else. And so I knew that was something that I really wanted in this movie. And it's not necessarily one that I can always put my finger on, but there's a definite strain of gothic horror in Random Acts of Violence. And so I wanted the thing to have a big beating heart on it. I really believed it was a love story as much as anything else.
Wow, that's incredibly deep. I mean, another moment, another example of being confronted with the reality of, I guess maybe because this film is so much about what the energies of what we put out there, and asking the question, is there a responsibility, of doing that? And, one of the first instances we see is when the guy comes to the convention and shows this model of a kill room that he made, and then it makes you think, is there an inherent responsibility as creators or as a person, just as a parent or whatever, in the energy that you put out? And does it have an effect? Is there a responsibility?
I would argue, I think I think unquestionably there is. I think the debate that needs to be had is what degree, because I think that we are to some degree responsible for anything we put out into the public. This is why we have curtains to vote behind, so that if you don't want to get into a debate, you don't have to. You're allowed to keep your thoughts and opinions to yourself. But I would argue that once you go out and elect to start sharing ideas, you are absolutely connected to them to some degree. If I go out in the street and tell a complete stranger to go fuck himself, you can't say I'm not responsible for in any way for what happens. Like if he comes and he fucking decks me, fine. He decked me, fine. He escalated. But he wouldn't have decked me if I didn't tell him to go fuck himself. So you can't take me out of there. Like I'm inherently part of the causation, right? So I don't know, and I get it, and I think that there's a sort of people get their backs up anytime it feels like someone's telling them what to do, but then you get this really kind of boring binary debate about allowed and what I'm allowed to do. It's not about allowed, right? Like, because like when Columbine happened, everyone's like Marilyn Manson and fucking Doom made these kids kill kids. That's fucking horseshit, right? But equally horseshit is this idea that carte blanche means you have no responsibility. Like that, I'd say they're equally absurd, equally thin, and equally reactionary. I think we can figure out in trying to understand who we are, what we're interested in, and why we like what we like. And by the way, the end of that process is not a guarantee of self-condemnation. Like it's the same thing of like you go to the grocery store, you might still buy junk food, but you're probably going to look at what's in it because you'd rather know. Even if you elect to put all of it inside you still would rather know, wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true.
Very true. There's something about so that's kind of my thing. Is like I certainly have been trying to unpack in me why I'm fascinated by what I'm fascinated by. And then I have to ensure that I never let my fascination be at the expense of my morals or my humanity. So I never want to get too caught up in how crazy something is and forget what that looks like for someone going through it.
Gotcha. No, that's very well said, my man. That's very well said. Yeah. And it's very well said with this movie as well, that everybody has to see right away.
Oh, yeah.
Jay, man, thank you so much, seriously, for taking the time to talk with us today.
I have one more question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I just want to know if you have any other horror projects in the works.
Oh, yeah. So I don't know what I'm allowed to mention of the shit that I'm allowed to mention.
You can mention it all. I'm so excited.
I've already gotten taken to the principal's office once during this promo push, so I've got a lot of stuff. It's always feast or famine in any freelance work. And so it's kind of, I can never put all my eggs in one basket at once. Like, when we did Goon 2, we had been developing Randomax for 4 or 5 years at that point. And so there are at any given time, right now it's like 5 or 6 things of varying degrees of maturation that I'm kind of, but yes. So to answer your question, yes, absolutely. I guess the thing I'm maybe can talk about, because I'm the only one doing it right now, it's not like built anything, but it's so there's the things I've got going on that like have other people and a bit of interest and some money and shit behind them. But then there's the stuff that I'm just doing for me that hopefully I can bring to somebody and get it to become a thing. So the next kind of like baby like that Kareem Hussein and I have been talking about since last year is just like, we have a kind of our take on the Robin Hood story. We want to, there's a really kind of heavy duty, fucked up, trippy Robin Hood we want to do. So no fucking castles, no horses, just fucking dirty and in the woods. And,
awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah. If you go back to the original Robin Hood source material, it's really trippy shit. It's really, really trippy shit. And so we just kind of like, and we're both huge fans of like First Blood and Taxi Driver, and so it'd be somewhere kind of in there, but in the woods. And it's like, yeah,
that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Actually, before we split, would you want to see the fucking truck, the model truck from the movie? I have
yeah, of course. I was gonna ask about that.
All right, so. And Dougie's broken fist from Goon 2 is in here somewhere too.
That's
amazing. Nice.
I love show and tell time.
Severed head from Random Acts of Violence.
Oh, you do?
Oh my gosh, this is awesome.
But so here's
wow.
Oh, damn.
So who built that thing?
Our property master, Michael Genera. Yeah. Just such lovely. We've got so much fun. I got to take home so much fun shit. Here's the cardboard cutout from the comics.
Oh, that's great.
That's rad.
And I think, let me see. It's in here somewhere. So there's a bunch of shit in here, as you can see. This is my Slasher Man fucking place, and there is a severed head in a box in here somewhere.
That's so awesome.
Anyway, thank you for having me.
Hey, man, thanks for the little tour. We love that. It's our favorite part. We love
awesome.
that stuff, man. That's great. Man. Well, thank you again for making it, man. Thank you again.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. All right. Looking forward to speaking again on your next one, man.
I fucking A. Your mouth to God's ears. Thank you so much, everyone.
Awesome, man. Take it easy.
Man, thank you.
Bye.